front of people who care about him, like Howard and the rest of the team. And if he does that, great, I'm gone. But I'm not going to leave him alone, accent the word alone, until I know that he's made that decision. He's not going to escape just by not showing up.
So you guys are at a pretty pivotal crossroads here?
We're at a crossroads. And listen, I think most doctors would say, you know what, okay, so the guy didn't show, so when he calls me, he'll call me. That's not enough for this guy. This is a guy with an incredibly big heart, with, parts of his life story that can surprise him down the road. And that's what I'm all about. Like, when I talk about living the truth, it's about facing your demons from the past and realizing, you know what, I've survived them, so I'm bigger than they are. I need to get him to that point where he can sort of build from strength and not rely on substances, not rely on, one or another sort of tumultuous relationship. But there's more work to do. So if he doesn't want to do the work, that's cool. But I always say, like, the truth always wins. So I'd rather he know now that I'm in it with him, so that if he calls me 8 months from now and says, listen, things aren't going well, at least he'll remember, hey, you did come. You tried to do the right thing. You were there for me.
Right. And he doesn't expect you coming today, does he?
No, he doesn't. So this is like a surprise visit. And we'll see how it goes because, frankly, right, this doesn't usually happen. You don't have your psychiatrist turn up in your family room for dinner or for breakfast, for that matter. But the bottom line is I think that this is one way to kind of do a mini intervention. And he's amongst friends or family. So the bottom line is I think that together we can get to the next level. And it may not be tomorrow. It might be 6 months from now. It might be 6 weeks from now. But really what I'm here for is for him to know that there's somebody in the world who cares that he's able to kind of heal from the past and build for the future.
All right. Well, good luck today, Dr. Abloh.
All right. Thanks. We'll see what happens.
Hey, all right. Here's a surprise for Artie. I'll line this up for you, pal.
You kidding me?
Surprise.
Is it cake?
No, you'll probably hate this, but I don't. This is good. So somebody was talking to Dr. Keith Abloh.
Yeah.
And you haven't shown up for some appointments or something with him?
What?
No, we had. Okay.
Here's Dr. Abloh right now coming into our studio to talk to Artie.
So it's time for a session.
It's time for a session. There he is. There's the man.
Listen, you didn't really get him here for just a session.
Well, we're concerned about you.
Well, How are you, brother?
How you doing?
Hey, Dr. Abloh, how you doing?
Howard, how are you?
Hi.
Good to see everybody.
I don't know. Do I call you Keith or Dr. Abloh? I'm weird about that.
I think Keith's good.
Oh, okay. Good.
I think
Do your patients call you Keith?
They do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that the formality does anything after the first 15 minutes.
What
right?
about the idea?
I'm just noticing Dr. Keith Abloh has very big hands.
Oh, yes. He's a super.
You didn't notice
man.
on the first visit? I'm disappointed.
Tell us what's going on with Artie.
Okay.
Can I just give you my side
should get right
real
to
quick,
work.
First?
We
were supposed to chat. We were supposed to chat.
Supposed to is the operative word.
The day I had to do Conan, right?
Go ahead.
So Keith did reach out for me and call me. The thing was, I went right home from the show and I laid down and I took a 3-hour nap and I woke up late and I had to run down to the car. In the car on the way to Conan, I got his message and it just never worked out. I did Conan.
But wait a second. Did you have a set appointment to speak?
Well, let Artie answer that. Artie will answer.
Artie, did you have a set appointment to speak?
Yes.
All right. And you slept through it?
I pretty much, well, we had made that appointment a few days earlier.
Did you sleep through your appointment with Dr. Abloh?
Technically, yes.
So the answer is that, I could never do that. You see, that's the difference between me and you. If I know I have an appointment with someone, I either call them first and say, listen, I'm too tired. I'm going to miss the appointment. But now you're avoiding Dr. Abloh. There's no reason why you couldn't have spoken to him.
Well, clearly it's impossible for me to avoid Dr.
Abloh. Yeah, no, it's like what about Keith instead of what about Bob, right? I actually follow my patients where they need me to appear.
He does leave he left me a message that day saying,
Artie.
look, I care about you. I hope you're all right, which was nice.
Artie.
Okay,
you can't even do a phone call.
It happened one time.
Is it only one time, Dr. Abloh?
Well, it's a little bit more, not to dispute
Technically one time.
the storyline here, but it's a little more than one time, right? So we missed the call.
I don't even know that I
But
missed
also,
one time.
there have been a number of invitations that I've issued Artie to actually get together face-to-face. We've met twice.
Right.
But there could have been more meetings, and then we had scheduled phone time that he slept through.
Yeah.
And so the bottom line is how hard, I think he knows I care about him, and that might be the problem.
No, yeah, well.
Is that what's going on here? As soon as somebody starts an intimate sort of, in fact,
Is this too close for you, Artie?
what's going on, Art?
Maybe, I don't know. It's very difficult to talk about myself for 2 hours a day.
Well, first of all,
I don't like what I see.
And without violating any confidences, because I'll never do that, but, the man starts his first session by saying, I think I've had a pretty carefree life.
Right.
All right, now, that calls me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know more than that.
Right.
Carefree.
Yeah.
Carefree. You're hardly carefree.
I guess not.
Not exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I'd call what you've been doing carefree.
You know, Artie, if you keep missing sessions, you may never end up having illegitimate kids like Dr.
That's
Abloh
right.
wants you to
That's
have.
what he wants you to do.
Is that true that you said to him he has an unconventional lifestyle and that maybe he should look into just having a kid with a woman without being married?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think, people's stories are what they are, and you try to perfect them, right? But the journey for Artie toward traditional matrimony, where he walks down the aisle with someone who says, I love you and I'll be there forever, I don't know if I can feel that story being written.
That's not possible for him?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it is, and certainly not if he sleeps through his sessions.
Look, we got into
What does it mean? What does it mean when a guy sleeps through his session?
It's very hard for Dr. Abloh to say this without going through, because there's some private things going on. But
yes.
I'll say this. I think he sort of assessed that I'm still very much in love with Dana.
Right.
Are you?
I think I am, sure.
Okay.
But at the same time, he thinks I want to be with her on some level.
Don't you?
No matter what I'm doing now, or well, I guess I certainly haven't found anything better for the long term. Maybe for 20 minutes. But so I think he was like, "What do you think? What do you think Dana would say to something like maybe you guys?" having a child this way, you'll always be in each other's lives, and you'll have,
Oh, does that sound like a
that
disaster?
sounds like a disaster to me.
Let me tell you, this guy has.
That's what she'd say.
Not necessarily.
I couldn't believe you had even said that.
Well, let me explain so that we're on the same page. I know I can convert you to my way of thinking. Artie has a massive heart. I mean, he really does. This guy has been through it and maintained his humanity and his ability to make people laugh and all of that, right? So one thing that is going to be, to my mind, not satisfactory is if this guy doesn't experience fatherhood.
Right.
I'm telling you, he has a lot of love to give.
But doesn't he have a lot of shit to work out
But
before
wait a
he has
minute,
kid?
Doctor. Yeah. What if? But Artie, if I just don't see it being a comfortable situation. If the woman has this kid with Artie, that doesn't mean she's going to stay there waiting for Artie to get his act together.
Not just any woman, though.
No,
He's not saying to do it tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
I'm not done yet. And then she's going to say, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with Artie as my relationship. She's going to go make another relationship for herself with a man. Now Artie's kid has two fathers.
Well, but now
Dr.
you get
Abloh, not to disagree, but I think it's a disaster.
Complicated storyline that you're drawing. Here's the other way it could go, because this is a guy who, if you get the wrong dog, he's out of there. So and by the way, I agree with him on that. I think like getting a big that was her defense against intimacy.
It could be.
Okay, and she may have
giant
others.
fuck you.
Yeah.
Four-legged fuck you.
So sometimes I think you have to take
Can
into
Robin
account.
and Howard and Fred and his sound machine come to every session?
Let's get on target for a second here.
Yay!
The point of you being here, Dr. Abloh, and
is to completely fuck with me.
Is to confront Artie and say,
so
Artie,
you'll go to your sessions instead of having them here.
There's nothing can work unless there's a commitment, at least to meet with you.
I didn't realize we got to this point yet to where I was like.
This is that's
but
true.
You're blowing off sessions.
This is proactive. Right?
Did we ever have a session where you're sitting there and I just don't show up? Did that ever happen?
Well, there was that phone call session, but the only reason
the man's got a schedule. I mean,
yeah, he's sitting by a phone calling you, making the time to call you.
And by the way, the reason it was a phone call is because I already couldn't find the time for face-to-face. But couldn't find the time doesn't work because I've worked with, everybody.
Yeah,
and
you know what?
There's got to be time, right?
I've had to do Letterman's and do this show in the same day, and I had therapy, and I got to go, and I go. That's it.
It was actually a weird, because I had the pre-interview the night before, and I hated the way it went, and I was very uptight about it.
Better to talk to Dr. Abelo before the appearance.
You know how they say, even in AA and stuff like that, the very day you think you shouldn't go to a meeting is the day you should go.
And it's not about the appearance. Like, let's borrow beneath that, right? This is about whether he wants to let somebody in to his life.
Right.
This is not about I had a bad day.
Is there a way, and I know Artie's too embarrassed to ask us, so I will. Is there a way Artie could raise his kid by the phone so that he wouldn't have to actually see the kid?
No, he'll be a great
dad. Is that too conventional or unconventional?
He'll be a great dad.
He'll be a great dad.
Partly because...
Well, he'll be play dad.
Right, he'll be fun dad.
Well, see, that's what these guys say. They don't.
No,
they're just trying to get a laugh.
You're not going to be there to discipline if you're
Why
not
do you
living,
say that?
Because if you're not living with the woman, when the shit's going down,
you're not there.
And then you're going to be play dad.
No,
he's not saying
5-minute ride.
He's not saying he wants to be.
It's 5 minutes from Dana.
He can be in the same building for that matter. The man needs his own space, and all I wanted to say.
Who's doing that?
All I wanted to say is,
we have you in mind, Robin.
If you can have a loving relationship where you sort of touch him as much as he can bear it, that may be the gate. He may end up living with her.
Let me ask you what's
Welcome
going on.
to the new world. You broads want your own life, so here it is. Take it.
Let me ask you what's going on vis-a-vis your relationship with Artie, because this says it all.
What?
Wouldn't you say that your relationship with Artie, Dr. Abelo, reflects his relationship with everyone?
Yeah.
That here you are attempting to be close with him. And
Being there for him.
And the second that happens, he runs for Z Hills.
Exactly.
He abuses you. That's what happens.
Well,
I'm not abusing.
Listen, that's the benefit of having a psychiatrist, because I don't experience it as abuse. I experience as him being defended against concern or love.
What do you want to say to Artie?
His mother or his sister, that would be abusive.
What do you want to say to Artie?
There, you're like my co-therapist.
What do you want?
I kind of miss Beth.
Yeah.
What do you
Just
want?
so you know.
What do you want to say to Artie right now that you couldn't get a hold? Of course, you couldn't get a hold of him. So, what is it you want to say to him? Really, let us sit back and let you handle this conversation. This very uncomfortable conversation.
Right. So, amongst friends and family, right? What we're going to ask Artie. I'm buttoning my jacket.
See, I got an iPhone.
Is just
control.
Just this, because I want you to know that should things go well for you, that's great. I'll celebrate with you. If things go less than well at any point, I want you to be able to reflect back and say, that guy is a little nutty, but he showed up at work for me. No, I should call him.
I know. I do. Listen, you've been very nice, and I have no complaints.
Very nice. It's interesting. It's very.
What do you find interesting about that?
Well, like today, I was going to say today, again, you're clearly a busy guy, and he is a busy guy. He lives in 2 different places. He's running all over the place. And like today, I have a crazy day that I'm kind of, and I have time in between. I have to leave here to go shoot this show, and I'm very uptight and stressed. I don't know. I thought about calling you yesterday, but then I said no. I don't know.
Yeah, why'd you say no, though?
I don't know, because then I think I'm bugging you, and I'm like, I don't know.
No, I mean, I know that, but in saying I think I'm bugging you, Artie, honestly, what he's really saying is I don't know if I really want to get that much into my own story. Right. Because every time it's a road in.
Is there some reality to that? You are a busy man. You have patience. You have a book career, TV career. You have all kinds of careers.
But why is Artie making that consideration?
Yeah, in other words.
But why is Artie making that consideration? If Keith has said, call me when these things occur.
Right.
And he doesn't even make the attempt. It's not like he called and didn't get an answer or got rejected. He doesn't even make the call.
And asked and answered in a way, right? Because if I'm that busy, how could I be here?
Right.
Right? So I wanted to provide an answer in advance to that concern. Like, it can't be that the problem is that I have, homes in 2 places. because here I am.
Yeah.
Right? Most psychiatrists don't, but I've done this for a long time. Like, I don't generally do work in 50-minute sessions just in an office. I will venture out with people. I'll have meals with them. I'll meet them at their offices. And I figured, what better place than to come here and define, does he want to go forward? That's really the question.
How many times a week do you think, for any of this to have an impact, do you really need to hear from Artie and to speak with Artie on a regular basis?
I think we should be in touch a couple times a week.
A couple of times a week?
I think so. And as I explained to him, on those occasions when he's thinking things aren't so good for me, or I'm not getting the right feedback from this person, I feel hurt, or I feel sad, or I feel upset, or I feel like taking a drink, or whatever it might be, it can be a 5-minute discussion. On those occasions, it can be 7 times a week.
Artie, do you think let's be honest right now, do you think Dr. Abloh isn't the right fit for you? Maybe you don't
possible.
think he's the right kind of psychiatrist for you.
No, I would say that the direct opposite. I'd say if I was going to see a psychiatrist, it would be someone like that.
If I was going to see a psychiatrist.
You are seeing someone. You're seeing Dr.
Oh,
Abloh.
am I?
No, he's not seeing a psychiatrist. You think everybody thinks he is, but him.
Right.
Am I seeing a psychiatrist?
Artie.
Did you know Scott Baio is 45 and single?
He's looking for a psychiatrist. All right, what do you want to say to Dr. Abloh now?
I want to say yes. I would like to continue to work on this great project.
But what's the risk? This is a great moment to try to get a little bit further. What's the perceived risk? Like, what are you thinking or feeling that if we go down the road a couple times a week, that what? There has to be a fill in the blank
I have to deal with this, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, it's so, it's like lifting weights, talking about my past and me and whatever the fuck is going on. And it's, in a lot of ways, it's just tragic. And I don't want to deal with it. I would rather just put it off and put it off and put it off. And seeing you forces me to deal with it. And I hate that. I have to get, like, you know, the fact that I'm busy with work or whatever sort of substitutes for dealing with that. And I could.
So are you worth making an investment in yourself? In other words,
probably not.
You could probably find an hour 3 times a week to call Dr.
My mother's
Abloh.
house is paid off.
You could find an hour 3 times a week to call Dr. Abloh. It's not like you're sitting there learning how to work your iPhone.
Of course I could.
But it's painful, and that's what he's looking to avoid. But you know what? If you try to avoid your pain, you get it tenfold at the end.
You do, Art.
That day, I'm telling you, that day after we spoke, I went
right?
to his place. I did, but it was so draining.
But did you feel good afterward?
No, he's saying no.
Well,
Afterward.
Yeah.
You did.
But then to get that, you got to get to that level in your mind. Okay, I'm gonna go talk about me, because even doing stand up, it's you got to get the right mindset. But at least it's all bullshit. It's all joking around. This is worse. This is more pressure. I get more nervous because I'm going and trying to figure out.
Are you afraid that Dr. Abloh will get close to you and then he'll get a huge dog?
But really, Artie,
he already
let me
knows
ask
I don't
you
want them.
something. You say that you always have, like today, you've got a great thing happening.
God.
You're going to be on Rescue Me, but it's also a bad
Which is
thing.
terrific.
It's a really horrible thing for
That's
you.
right.
Right.
Well, rescue yourself, man.
Yes, isn't it ironic that Artie is on Rescue Me and yet
Right.
he won't
And he
rescue
really
himself?
needs it.
I mean,
Isn't
that's the deal.
Artie's real story Rescue Yourself?
It's everyone's story because he says how much easier it feels to do stand-up.
Right.
Of course it
Right.
does. But you know what? At his expense. So everybody gets to laugh.
But him.
And at the end, he's
Not
all
always.
chewed up, and we get to say, look, another guy who...
Doctor,
Yeah.
what is your recommendation to Artie right now?
Thorazine.
No. What is your
Really,
recommendation?
I've heard Artie says he wants to continue because Artie, you do want things in your life
Yes,
that you
yes.
can't get right now.
Absolutely, like sleeping pills.
Okay, so here's the
Artie, what do
recommendation.
you want? Artie, why would you go to someone like Dr. Abloh to do what? What do you tell
I
me
guess
what you want?
to eventually be happier. Why
To
would
be
anybody?
happier.
If I'm happier, then I think everyone in my life would be affected.
So you
in a
want to be
positive way.
happier. That sounds
Why
like
else would anybody go see a
But
shrink?
that sounds like a really good thing for you to be happier. Maybe
Yeah.
that would contribute to your
Yeah,
weight loss, contribute to you being
absolutely.
free of drinking and heavy gambling.
How
My
many
weight
ways?
right now, is such a problem. It is such a
Epidemic.
source of for my depression.
Right.
That like when I wake up, I feel horrible. I could barely move. I mean, I'm not used to being 300 pounds.
No,
I'm
this
really
is
not.
new. This is new.
It is. It's
Yeah,
new.
this is every day. It's a new day.
It's like Star Trek. It's the undiscovered
That reminds
country.
me. Let me weigh you.
He won't let us weigh him anymore.
To the point where I never gave a fuck
So,
about weight.
Artie.
Like now, it affects me. A day of depression follows.
All right. So listen to me. Here is your doctor in the house.
Yeah.
Dr. Abelo,
He's
to
actually
talk
at work.
to you. He says he has a way that he thinks can put you on the road to more happy feelings. Dr. Abelo, please.
We will. We'll get him fit, because how much weight can you carry? It's just a metaphor. Right. He's carrying a lot of weight.
Well, now it's not. It's not
weight.
a
And you don't
time
mean
to put
physically.
some of it down.
It's actual weight.
Did you hear what he just said?
It's time to let
Yes.
go of some
But
of
what
it.
other weight am I carrying? I don't understand. I mean,
Come on.
No, you're holding on to everything. You won't even let him in to see how to work through some of the stuff that is keeping you back. So you're holding on, and your weight is sort of like
Let me tell you.
keeping you out of life.
I do. I don't like. I don't like long-term commitments on any level.
Well,
I hate
but
it.
let me tell you what the translation here is.
Personally, professionally, I hate it.
Artie's very skeptical that anyone can truly care about him. What did he ask you the last time I was here? He's like, yeah, but we never get together outside of here just to, like, be brothers.
Right.
Right? And you've invited
That's
him
why
many
we're
times,
not
but what does he
bros.
do? He says, no, you didn't.
Right.
No,
Right, so
I-
it's the same dynamic. It's basically like he's saying to me, yeah, you can't really care about me. It's really, you know, the psychiatry thing and
It'll
it's a
just
50-minute
ruin
hour
it.
thing.
It'll just ruin.
You probably do.
Right.
You have in your mind a little bit, Artie, that the reason Dr. Abelo is interested in you is because you're on this show?
Absolutely.
Oh, wait.
Is that true?
No, I'm kidding.
No,
That's
no,
how
he
that
probably
happens to
doesn't
be.
feel that way.
But
That
so
happens
what?
to be how we met, but no, I don't feel that way.
But so
Yeah.
what?
I don't feel he's like
I
that.
got a psychiatrist. He's into me because I pay him. He'll stop seeing me. But yet he's a good guy and he helps me.
You know, I don't know. It's funny. Like, actually last week at Conan, one of the other segment producers said, "Do you want to meet Jessica Biel?" And I said no. I said, "Well," he goes, "Oh, really?" Well, I go, "I don't know. What am I going to say to what?" Like, she doesn't want to meet me. I don't want to meet her. Like, what am I going to say to her? You know.
You could have been banging Jessica Biel. You
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, you know,
She's
it's
not a huge fan.
And he's like, "Really?" She said she'd like to meet you, and I'm like, "Well, I don't want to meet. I don't want to meet her."
See, she wanted to meet you.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's
Let's
a
go
perfect
to
See, but
example.
that's a defense too, because if he were an intern at this show and he had told me the same story, I'd be as committed to him. But again, another shield. It's just because I'm well known that the guy wants time with me.
No, I don't think that about you. No, I don't.
Well, no, you might.
about
it's
the
okay,
idea
but
that-
in the end, he'll know.
Let's be honest. Artie should be institutionalized immediately, right?
Artie
Locked up in a
needs
straight
major-
jail.
Yeah, I'm on this show. This is
Let's go to Dominic
This is an
Barbara.
insane asylum.
Dominic, go ahead.
I feel that it's very unfair for Artie today to trust somebody and then have that person. And it's great radio, obviously, but Howard,
Yeah.
could you imagine if your psychiatrist came in?
Well, if Howard wasn't showing up, it would be the only place to find him.
Well, this is called an intervention. Dr.
It's
Abelo-
another bullshit
it's a little
thing just
unusual.
to have a good radio
Here
segment.
we go. Now,
Here
are
we
we
go
gonna
again.
Get irritated?
Well, ask,
Artie?
what about what Dominic just said? Well, let's get your shrink in here.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
please. His shrink sees him when he has an appointment.
First of all, I show up to every appointment.
Well, that's your problem.
Let's even say you didn't show up. And
You know what, Dominic? You're such a horse's ass, and I'll tell you
Right.
why.
I'll tell you
You're
why
one of
I'm
those
not.
guys who keep saying, and along with all the emails we get, why isn't any of you guys care about Artie? Why
Right,
aren't you
why aren't
doing
you
anything
doing
to help the
something?
guy? So here, Dr. Abelo says, hey, Artie's not showing up. Artie's blowing me off. I want to say...
So pull me aside after the show and go, listen, Dr. Abelo
No.
says you're blowing it
that
off.
doesn't do any good with
For the
you.
show.
It doesn't do any good
It doesn't
with you.
do any good for the show.
It doesn't do any good with you.
Oh, stop it.
It
This isn't,
doesn't.
good. This isn't doing any good either.
No, this will do good because this
No, it's
intervention
not.
was
Put you
born
back.
on this show.
Howard, I don't blame you in any way at all, or Robin, but let
But
me
me,
ask the
he
question,
blames.
Doctor.
No, Dr. Abelo's, he hit it on the head. This intervention was born out of this show. This is how it came about.
This is home base.
Right.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah.
Doctor, the word transference, when a therapist or psychiatrist takes on an individual in a patient's life and they work out issues through the psychiatrist, obviously, Artie's father's death, which was not his own fault, his injury wasn't his father's fault, was a great, great hurt to Artie. He had to be part of it. He had to suffer. It took years of his life. You're now his father. Aren't you disappointing him?
Oh, Dominic.
What?
You know what? This is Dominic. Dominic has major father issues.
Well, but
he does.
And Dominic thinks
Artie?
everyone is him because Dominic is a narcissist.
Right.
Artie, do you feel disappointed that someone you trusted,
He hasn't betrayed a
I'm
confidence or
asking
anything.
Artie.
It makes me take it less seriously. Absolutely.
That I would agree.
Oh, Artie, you don't need any
Interesting.
help in that.
Yeah, well, you know what?
You weren't returning the
it,
guy's calls.
Yeah, he's taking it less seriously anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Eric, you're on the air.
Do you guys feel like you're being a little bit impatient in getting into therapy? I mean, it seems like all you've been in therapy.
Impatient.
I mean, don't you think that you could just, like...
Artie's almost dead.
Wait,
When
I can't
should
hear.
we
I can't hear.
start?
Eric, I can't hear your point. Hold it. Say it again. I didn't hear what you said.
It just seems to me like you guys are impatient. You rush into therapy when I think you don't even need it. Like, do you honestly think if you didn't go to therapy that you wouldn't have made it through the situation?
I think I would have made it fine, but I wouldn't have been as. Listen, I have a lot of things that bother me, and I am working through them, and I think it's important to do.
And no, you wouldn't have made it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the therapist telling you that you couldn't figure out on your own?
Well, oh my God, I had no clue about how to deal with certain aspects of my life. I've never been trained in that area.
Or how you showed up for other people. That's what you learned.
Like Artie, I am in such an avoidance mode toward opening up toward anything toward myself. I have been living with my head up my ass and not even in touch with when I'm unhappy, or I don't even acknowledge any of the inner feelings. It forces me to go to a guy. Well, I'm answering your question.
Okay,
it forces me to go to a guy's office and take a good hard look at myself. And I hate it. But I know I need to take this medicine if I'm going to be better with my kids, better in my relationship with Beth, and some other people in my life. I'm telling you, I do it for myself. And I do it because it's like taking my medicine.
Right.
You don't take medicine when you have cancer because you like taking the medicine.
Why don't you wait? Yeah, hold off. You're rushing into that cancer
medication. You do it to get better. But as soon as someone says mental problems or issues, I can put it off. Well, if you think you can put it off, I'm suggesting you can't.
I agree that I need a stylist.
Artie, you yourself were on the wrap-up show the other day, and you started talking about approaching your 40th birthday and how that's driving you crazy, and you look at your life, and even Jason has now surpassed you in terms of achievements and maturity, and it bothers you.
Everyone's struggling.
Yes.
I just think Artie needs to give it a little bit of time, and I think all his itself out.
Give it a little time, and everything will work itself out.
How much more time you want to give?
I mean, he's going to drop dead if he.
We're going to lose
It's interesting, though.
I mean, what really, all Artie needs to do is lose weight. I mean,
I agree.
Why is he 300 pounds, dude?
I agree.
That's why he's feeling depressed. That's why he's feeling like shit. I mean, just get out and start working out and lose some weight, man.
This is working out.
But maybe that isn't so easy. Maybe he needs to work out, with Dr.
I need
Avila.
a physical trainer who's like a chick who's a 10.
And I'm still back
I'll
on
show
him.
up for
Listen, Artie is.
a mess.
Well, no, he's having a hard time. He's admitted it here. I'm not telling you something out of school. And I think if he had someone if he got serious about the relationship with Dr. Abelo and really worked through some things, it might be incredible. It's going to be incredibly hard. No one said this shit's easy. In fact, it takes a strong man to stand up in front of another man and say, look, I got some shit that's bothering me. Can I talk to you about it?
The other thing, Dr. Keith, is Artie has expressed that he thinks he might be less funny if he gets better. He has this fear.
That's listen, I've worked with other very creative souls. It's always a fear that somehow your demons are fueling your creativity, and it's never the case. In fact, if you have some equilibrium,
you might even open up more.
He can open up more. But he's interesting. Like,
look, I mean, I'm not that creative.
He's very creative.
Yes.
And the reverse arithmetic is interesting that he does. He says, because you showed up here, and said that you're concerned about me, I take this a little less seriously.
Yeah, well,
Right, he
but
takes everything less seriously.
It's just it's for everybody to hear, though. It's like.
No, we didn't get into your real issues. I mean,
Yeah.
And also, you weren't going to call him back anyway.
Yes, I was. That is bullshit. I
let it go
totally
like
gonna call
9
him back.
days or something.
Mike, you're on the air in New Haven, Connecticut.
I let it go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good therapy session. Let's hear what Mike has to say in New Haven,
Let's
Connecticut.
let Mike might know something. Go ahead.
Listen,
As he puts down his
Yes, Mike.
Sprite.
I know for a fact Artie's getting better. He's much less funnier now.
Yes. Thank you.
No, but I want to know what kind of meds are Dr. Abelo giving him? Is he giving him any Xanax, anything good?
You're not putting him on anything.
No, I haven't put him on anything.
We're not on
No.
medication.
No.
What's that? No, I don't.
Do you
see-
think I need medication?
The thing that Artie, listen, I think medicines can be very powerful for people. What Artie needs is to get closer to his truth, not for me to give him distance from his pain. He's already said, listen, the reason I didn't come back is because it was hard and it hurt. Well, guess what? You know, the bottom line is you go to a gym, you don't leave your trainer and say, hey, I'm not coming back because my muscles kind of are sore. You're like, good, they're sore.
So you're saying I have a lot of
Artie
pain?
Is Artie
Of course
heavy
you have a
right
lot of
now
pain.
because
How about
he's
painkillers?
Is Artie heavy now because he's depressed?
Artie's heavy because he is looking for one shield after another from certain truths. His story is that with all kinds of trouble in various chapters of his early life story, he then meets with sudden and unusual success.
Yes.
And it's in the realm of comedy. And so he has all these defenses at the ready. Women, alcohol, making people laugh. And he never has to, so far, go back and reclaim the damaged parts of himself and say, look, these were real things I lived through, and they're going to come back and get me. So I'm here to get him first.
He's too far gone. He's way too fucked up. You'll never get him.
This guy has written you off.
You're saying that Dr. Abelo can't even get him back.
I don't think anybody could get him better.
Well, I believe
this
I
guy
don't
might be
agree.
right.
I don't agree with that, Artie.
Well,
I mean, I hope to God he gets better. I love Artie, but, you know.
And that's where the
let's
kid
face
thing comes
that.
in.
but it ain't.
Right.
But it ain't
Artie, the sure way not to make it happen is to do nothing.
Let's get someone on the phone. Let's get someone on the phone who's
You
really.
guys chose to bring this guy into the session.
Let's
not
get
me.
somebody on the phone who's really concerned.
You guys, I didn't know he was coming in.
Let's get someone on the phone who's really concerned. Ralph.
Concerned and together.
Yes.
Artie, come on, man. First of all,
What
the fuck? You can't find an hour a week to do this. If you're going to do it, do it. What do you do all week?
I don't know.
Like, how many Yankee games do you go to?
I've only been to one this year.
All right, but you can't find an hour. The guy can't make it any easier for you. He'll come to your house. He'll get you on the phone. You go see him. I mean, after you leave here, what are you so busy with?
I don't even know. Like this guy from Playboy just did this interview. Thank God that's over. This guy was in my life for like 2 weeks, and he had a deadline.
Well, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so he came here one day. He came to rescue me one day. He came to a gig in Pittsburgh, and he's a really great guy. But I felt obligated because he had a deadline to write this 4,000-word piece.
But why do you feel obligated?
Because I don't know. He said I
So
want
there's an issue to speak to Dr. Abelo about. Hey, I want to give this guy 2 hours of my life,
Meanwhile,
and that's it.
I don't know what that guy had the tape recorder running the whole time. I don't know what the fuck he's got.
And you know what?
That article, I am so scared of that article.
And Artie, the article is going to disappoint you because
you put so much
energy into it. It's ridiculous. I mean, Dr. Abelo would have worked, and you say, Artie, we're going to say your free time is important. Draw a boundary.
And notice what he did there. He compared me. He said, I have this other guy in my life who's a reporter for Playboy.
Right.
Who shows up, too, and takes my time. So what he's trying to do is put me off by saying, you'd really no more important than the writer for Playboy.
No. You know what
I hear it, but I won't accept it.
That's exactly right.
I'll tell you what happened
I
to
hear
me.
it, but I don't accept
He
it.
said to me, he goes, after coming to a gig and here and the TV show, and he goes, I need one more thing. And he is he's a really nice guy, so I don't mind accommodating him. But he said, I want to come to your house.
But what about
and
what
see
Dr.
you at home
Abelo,
and interview you at home.
Dr. Abelo just said you reduced Dr. Abelo to
a Playboy reporter.
To a Playboy reporter as annoying as that. You don't even value what Dr. Abelo does.
No, I know, but it's like
and it's not the same thing he's doing.
When he came over, it turned into a therapy session. I just
Look how tough he is, though. He's very tough to care about.
Yeah.
He makes it very hard for you to care about him. It's like gates that you have to get through.
I suspect Dana went through this with him.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
But wait, you not only...
Well, my relationships with people start out like a huge love affair. Like, you're great, everything's great, we're having fun.
And then?
I always, in my own head, I go, listen, eventually I want to leave a situation. People don't want me to leave, but I want to leave.
Why do
and
you
that
wanna
disappoints
leave?
them for some reason.
But why do you want
I don't know.
Let me put Robin's question a different way.
I just feel like leaving.
What happens if you stay? What is your fantasy? What would happen
What's the
if
fear?
you got close to
that
Dr.
one day I
Avila?
wake up and I'm 50 and I've been at the same fucking place for fucking 30 years.
No. I said, Dr. Avila, I'm talking about. What is your fear in staying with him and getting close to him? What is it? Is it
What is it about
homosexual?
being
What is
close?
it?
No.
What is it? Does it feel gay to be close to him?
See, part of me, maybe I don't really buy into the whole therapy thing. Like again, like with this article, there's a goal at the end. He's going to write an article, so we're working towards something. An article will get done.
Right, but what scares you
with
about
going to
being...
Dr. Avila? I'm like, what is the light at the end of the tunnel? I'm not really sure.
Forget what scares you about staying in a relationship with Dr. Avila. And it feels good.
Nothing's so scary about it. It's just that.
Well, you're not doing it though.
How come you can spend time to make Playboy a success, but not Artie a success?
Well,
I mean,
because
why are you giving time to Playboy?
I mean, that's part of my career. You know, it's part of how I'm making money.
But you could have given him 2
I
hours.
was talking in a broader sense. You're saying all relationships are like that for you. That eventually you want to go.
I do. And when I got on Mad TV, I signed a 5-year contract. I told my agent, I said, I don't want to be here 5 years. Like, well, you have to sign a 5-year contract. And then the first year went amazing. Everything was great. The second year started, and the drugs kicked in. And part of me's like, I don't give a fuck if I get kicked off the show because I'm done here.
Yeah, but what does that say?
It's awful. I know it's awful. The Norm Show, if it didn't get canceled after 2 years, I'm telling you, I probably would have got arrested there too.
Right.
And I just get done. I get bored. I'm like, 2 years seems to be the time.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Avila, what have you heard?
What I've heard
I've
is
been here
this.
7 years, which says a lot for this show. I mean, it's the.
Well, we're great people.
I mean, I know, but when I want to leave a situation, nobody lets me leave. They're always like, "You're an asshole for leaving, and we hate you now."
No,
and then it's like,
I would never.
There's
I
a
told
reason
you.
when you're in a good situation, you leave.
But Artie, I told you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As much as it would pain me to see you go,
right?
I want you to be happy. If this became so horrible to you, I would give you a big hug.
See, that is a problem with me. It's like what there's nothing horrible about this. It's great, but I get to the point where I don't know where the fuck I want to go. I just feel like going. I don't know why.
So why don't you talk to Dr. Avila before you blow this up?
Something like Dana or Dr. Avila could create an anchor somewhere that I don't want to. It attaches me somewhere.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now that's
that he
positive.
intuits that I am the road to other anchors,
right.
that I'm going to try to anchor him.
Right.
Right. But the bottom line is he also gives us like a window on his soul, because it isn't just relationships that he's uncertain of. It's his own story. He wants to be able to exit the story at any page.
Right.
Right? Right.
I know it's true. Yeah, absolutely.
And so what does he get? He's like, what's the light at the end of this tunnel? By the way, in saying it's a tunnel, that doesn't necessarily make the psychiatrist feel great.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Well, a tunnel's like a vagina,
kind of like invulnerable. Yeah.
It's a very,
The light at the end of the tunnel is this, that Artie looks back some number of years from now and says, you know what? I didn't have the best childhood, let's say, but boy, I've really come through from my own kid. He does?
You see, shrinks are good at this. They point out why your childhood was bad. I think maybe I'm in complete denial. Up until my old man fallen, I think I was. But listen, I mean, I was a horrible student. And didn't get great grades.
Your father picked you. I know a little about your father, but your father picked you up at a baseball game, threw you into the field, and put you in danger as a little boy with a bunch of raving lunatics. And you think you don't have issues?
No, I know.
Well,
you're
listen,
right.
but you've made a joke out of it, because I know this. I made a joke out of a lot of my life.
Right.
But you don't think you have issues with that? You fucking have issues.
You
pal.
think I'm really mad at him for that?
I think that you're confused by it. You don't feel protected by your old man.
See, you're thinking of it as a 30, 40-year-old man, not a 7-year-old kid.
Somewhere in you is that kid who's at the baseball game going, Dad, what the fuck? You're throwing me in with a bunch of wolves? If I took you and threw you in with a bunch of Roman gladiators to go fight to the death, you would tell me that I was a piece of shit.
See, my father thought he was Superman. He would always, like, my mother had that conversation with him a million times when he used to take me to work. And I told him something that Dr. Avalo, something that almost, he almost like fainted about that. My father used to work in high rises in Newark, and he would put antennas on the buildings. And I would be like 7 years old, and I'd come to work with him. And he would see that I was scared he was going to fall. So he would literally, he tied a wire to the antenna, and he would lean over the fucking the roof, and he would pull it up like this, get the antenna all the way up, and it was my job to grab it and pull it in. And I said, Dad, you're gonna fall, you're gonna fall. And just to bust my chops, he would get on one leg and he could go, I could go this way, or I could go that way. And I'm running behind like air conditioning units going, Dad, what are you doing? Starting to like cry. And he would just laugh, and he would always say, like with the Yankee game, he would say, if you said that to him, he'd go, you know what? I had him. I always had him. I had my eye on him. He wasn't getting, no one's going to fuck with her. Everything was fine. But part of me does go, what is he talking about? That sounds ridiculous. How could you be sure you had me?
He was torturing you.
Yeah, well, if your dad, let's say your dad wanted to teach you how to swim, okay, Artie?
He was breaking my balls.
He was breaking your balls.
Well,
You're a little kid.
Torture at 7.
Right. Teach me how to swim.
Let's say your dad wanted to teach you how to swim.
Which he did.
And he says, you know what, I'll throw you in the water, and let's see if you float. Would you say that was fucked up?
We did. It's weird you say that with the swim. We used to go to the Jersey Shore. We'd go in the ocean, and he would, well, my mother wasn't looking. He would take me and throw me over the waves. And, you know, Jaws had just come out. I was scared shit. And there was a couple times where I thought I wasn't going to make it. And it always his fucking big arm came out of the waves and grabbed me and took me back. And
sounds pretty scary to me.
He would hit me.
It sounds frightening.
He would hit me ground balls.
You think it's normal that your dad threw you into Frankie Valli's hotel room? Do you think that's normal?
Well, he wanted to meet Frankie Valli. He didn't throw me in there. He let me crawl.
He wanted to meet Frankie Valli, so he used you.
He let me. You see, now we get into the thing I've been in therapy where I get pissed people are fucking with my old man.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I'm not saying your old man's a bad guy.
I know.
It's just you've got to have issues with that. You know,
when I remember hearing that story at 10 and 11, when I could understand it, I remember laughing that, you know, they were staying at the same motel as Frankie Valli, and he let me crawl into his room, and then he walked in there, and I was
You're a little boy. You didn't care about Frankie Valli. Your dad
I was 2.
did.
I don't even remember doing it.
So let's put you in a stranger's room.
Yeah.
What does every parent say? Don't mess with strangers. He throws you in a room with a stranger.
I'll tell you, the one time...
You don't think you have an issue?
The time I was, if you want to get into it, the times I was, like, really resentful of him was when I was about 9 or 10 years old, he would take me out, and we would play baseball together. So... he would, there was this big field in Newark that had all these, like, putting green. These guys would fucking manicure the lawn so you could putt on it like golf. And my father always called golf a fag game. He's like, who cares? So we would use that to hit. We would use that to hit ground balls because it was a good hop.
Right.
We're ruining these guys' greens. So he gets out this aluminum Adirondack fungo bat. I'll never forget. And he starts hitting me grounders like fucking laser beams at me, and if I got out of the way, he would give me shit. And you know, and then he would take golf balls and hit them at me, and like, if you're not afraid of the golf ball, you won't be afraid of the baseball. And and if I ever made an error, it would I would feel like I was disappointing him.
Of course.
But more so if I looked like a pussy, if I backed out of the way, I knew he'd get pissed off at.
Yeah.
Do you think having a close relationship with a man, like Dr. Avalo, makes you a pussy? Honestly, are you a pussy?
Or giving into your feelings. Giving into your feelings in front of a guy.
Your old man would say you were a pussy, wouldn't
Probably
he?
deep down, it's like, you know.
It doesn't feel normal to him. Listen, if the guy who supposedly loves you, your father, is the guy also hitting, you know, laser beam ground balls
and you
at
worship his dad,
and having you cry while he laughs about falling off the roof, which eventually
really crying.
he does.
I was just like, come on.
I wasn't really crying. Listen, of course you were.
Of course not.
But right,
you're a man.
So for somebody,
you're 2 years old and you're a man.
So what do you do? Like, somebody expresses real concern for you, and what do you say? Listen, you're a Playboy reporter. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not calling you back, and you know what? I'm still here.
Yeah. No, I know. I appreciate it.
Well, Dr. Avalo, I want to thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
I think
Artie,
this is very loving. He's saying talk, Artie. this might be a good time to reach out.
Or
to
he could
Dr.
fire
Abloh.
me right now.
No, listen. What Howard's saying
If he fires you, you'll never bother him again.
What Howard's
I'll
saying
just keep
is,
him in the back of my mind. I'll be there if he ever calls. But we should try to break through some of this resistance.
You're letting him off too easy, Dr. Abloh.
No, he's not.
No,
He's
I'm saying let's break through. But
and make a decision.
You can't commit an hour a week to this.
that's what I want. I want an hour a week and a couple of phone calls.
That's it. Do it, Artie.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't.
Well, what Howard's saying is interesting, like that whole thing of do you think it's gay to have a relationship with him, like get into your feelings and stuff like that. Because when my father was hurt, they hired a Monsignor to come and talk to him. My father was always an atheist; he didn't care about God. But like when he was hurt, he always felt that maybe that because of stupid shit I did in my life, I'm being punished. So Monsignor, this real nice old Irish guy, would come and see him every week. And we really thought it was getting through to my father. We really thought, now maybe he's coming to peace with this.
Right.
And a few days before he died, my father, we were talking about it. And I'm going, well, it seems like you're having a fun time talking to Monsignor. He's like, I'm just doing that for your mother. I don't even listen to the guy. What do you
Yeah.
And that sort of hurt. Like,
Well, he's talking to some fucking Monsignor.
But you know something? That's
And
also
that's his defense.
also
here's the
might
thing.
not
That's
have
also
been
a
the
message
truth.
that he got from
Exactly.
his dad.
That
That talking about himself is bullshit.
Yeah,
Right.
but it also might not have been the truth. He couldn't let you know he was getting it.
Yes.
Right.
Or maybe.
He might have been embarrassed.
And listen, here's the thing. To come full circle, before our time is out, we started talking about Artie having a child someday, right? And the bottom line is he has to be prepared to not feel totally freaked out when the kid just wants to hug him and be with him. And he's
Right.
going to say,
Right.
wait, why didn't I get this?
By the way,
Well,
he's going to be angry.
My father was affectionate with me, too. We had a very great
it's confusing.
relationship.
The old man, though, tells you he's doing it for your mother. Meanwhile, your father doesn't sound like that guy that did anything for anybody unless he wanted to do it.
Well,
the truth is, he wanted to speak to the Monsignor.
He was a complicated guy. It's hard to get my old man's psyche down.
Everyone is complicated,
Well,
Artie.
you know what?
But there's something that went on with you in your encounters with your father as well. There were things going on that you don't want to look at.
And plus you want to make excuses for your old man because listen, nobody wants to badmouth their old man, but there
Except
were things.
me.
So I got to know if I'm fired. I got to know if I'm fired.
Yeah, I'll let you two work that
No,
out.
you're not fired. No,
Okay,
absolutely
well
not.
that's encouraging,
I'll call you.
You're fired.
I'll call you fired.
You're fired. His iPhone doesn't have you on speed
Can't
dial.
break up in person.
I just got a new iPhone.
Is Dr. Abloh your psychiatrist?
Yes,
He is.
absolutely.
All right.
He is
More so
working
than anyone
with you.
else.
Okay.
More so than anyone else.
That's
He's got
not
to take the edge off. He's got to cut it back.
commitment.
It's
Can't
okay.
you make this man special?
It's okay.
No,
Can't
yeah.
you let him be above the others? Can't he be the special man? in
Above
your
the
life?
others.
No.
Can
Can
you
he-
want to hit me grounders?
No, right. Listen,
That
the
might work.
Playboy reporter, Abloh, whatever. But the bottom line is that whether he likes it or not, the bottom line is I'm available to him. And so he's got to at least deal with the fact that there's some individual in the world who knows he's in some amount of pain and is available. So that's like irreducible.
Well, I'll
he's
tell you,
going to have to deal with that.
I could definitely. This week again is a stressful week. I got,
A stressful week. It's been a stressful
the show.
life.
I got the show all week. I'm doing Rescue Me today and Wednesday, and I got to fly to
what?
Vegas
Here
Thursday.
we go now. If he was not
Stressful
working,
week.
he could go do therapy.
Yeah.
He
But I'm
always
saying-
wants to do this if he's not in his
Wait a
life.
second. What's going on?
Stressful week.
Well, it is Ralph.
You don't have-
Ralph. It's
There's
work.
not an hour this week
I've
to
had
meet with
cabinet members in therapy. This guy
Yeah,
can't.
come on.
I'm saying no.
Artie, you're saying you're so busy that you can't talk for an hour.
You've had guys who run countries clear out an hour.
Exactly.
Well, I'm bigger than some countries.
All right, listen, Dr. Abloh, you're great. Hey, listen, by the way,
No, you're
I got to
not
mention
fired.
your book.
We'll talk. Yeah.
You don't have
Let's
to
get
because
the-
he'll think it's all about the book. Maybe we don't mention the book.
Let's get to the real reason.
Because he'll
here.
think he's no. You know what? Don't mention it. Do not mention the
I'm going
book.
to mention
Absolutely
it.
not.
Dr.
No.
Abloh, 21 pounds in 21 days.
No.
Stop.
I'm telling you, no, we're not going to plug the book because I'm not
I
going to
like
let
that.
Artie
I like
think
that.
that
I
I'm
like
here for.
that.
No.
Doctor, I'm
It's
kidding.
not about the book,
Now I'm
Artie.
being a comedian.
He
I'm
thinks
kidding.
it's about a magazine, a book. It's not
No,
about that.
I'm kidding you.
We sell plenty of books. We don't need to do it here.
Listen, I know.
It's okay.
I was
plug
doing-
I'm telling you, no, do not plug the book.
I will not
Well,
plug
then,
it.
thank you.
I
could
will
you
not
plug,
plug it.
Thank you.
Plug
We're not talking about-
August 3rd and 4th in Cohasset, Massachusetts.
Plug someone. All right, look, Ralph, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ralph.
Thank you for helping Artie,
No
Ralph.
problem, Marty. Anytime. You can call me, too.
I know, buddy. All right.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's just thank Dr. Abelo. There's a lot of people who want to discuss Artie.
Yeah, thank you. Is my first grade teacher here as well?
Coming in next.
Yeah, everybody's got a story about you.
All right, we're going to take a break. Artie.
Coming in next, the psychiatrist with a fat fetish.
Let's take a break. We'll be back right after these words.
What's with Artie? What do you think his problem is?
Listen, I think Artie, like a lot of people, is ambivalent about how much does he want to get into the issues, right? And I represent that. I'm like, sort of a burrower for the truth. So if you want to avoid the truth, you avoid me. I wanted to make it a little harder for him to avoid me, so I came here. I think he handled it pretty well, and we'll see what the evidence is. He'll either call me or he won't. But at least we'll know. We'll have the answer.
Do you feel like he's still trying to make excuses? That's what it seemed like.
Of course he's trying to make excuses, but that's expected. Like, I know that with someone in that amount of turmoil, there are going to be excuses. There are going to be shields that people hold up, and he's got a lot of shields. And I just wanted him to know I see him. I know what they are. It doesn't stop me from caring about him, and he could call me in 6 minutes, or he could call me in 6 months. I'd take the call, and we'd keep working. So he knows now there's one person in the world who's going to be there for him as long as I'm in the world.
Now, what do you see in Artie's future if he does want to see you?
Listen, I think here's where we can get him to access parts of his life story he hasn't looked at or felt the emotions from. I think he'll be even more creative. I think he'll be funnier for it. I think he'll feel better. I think he can lose the weight because part of the eating is to feel better. I think he can feel better without a lot of food. I think he might be able to make a committed relationship with a woman. And my fondest hope for him is he gets to father a child and to bestow upon that child all of the gifts he'll know intrinsically and instinctively how to give because he didn't get some of them. See, people who've been hurt are sometimes the best people to love others. But he's got to allow himself to be loved first.
All right, Dr. Keith, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you can help him out.
And if you need any help, you just call me, all right? I'm here for you, too.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Artie, was this ambush visit by Dr. Keith on the same plane as when they brought in the girl who likes fat guys?
No, it was, I don't know. It might have even been worse because I hate shrink shit.
And then they're publicizing your personal life again?
No, where are you going to go? No. It did make for good radio.
Yeah, I guess. But do you really want to continue this whole relationship you have with Dr. Keith, or is it just getting to the point where...
No, I don't. I'll give it a shot. Why not? Fuck it. Ultimate warrior. I'm gonna keep going.
But, when guys like Ralph call in and say, what are you doing all week that you can't go meet with Dr. Keith, that's got to get under your skin because he doesn't understand your life at all.
Well, listen.